Hello, Legacy Leaders. Welcome to our March Leaders meeting. Wow, it's been a month. It's been a month, and that is what we will start off saying, like insanity. Couldn't have guessed it, couldn't have predicted any of it. March has been insane, but last March was pretty insane, and the March before that was also pretty insane. So maybe this is just the new norm. So we're going to start with our shout outs from last month. And so Anya, take that away.
All right. Okay, so we have our February top 10 PRV. Number 1 was Mindy Hilton. Number 2 is Megan Moore. 3 was Jennifer Peterson. 4 was Tara Dickerson. 5 was Stephanie Reed. 6 was Sylvia Slutsky. 7 was Stephanie Sandgren. 8 was Jess Torres. 9 was Sarah Evans. And 10 was myself. Way to go, you guys. That is amazing. Amazing. You guys are like forces to be reckoned with. I swear. It is insane. And it's so cool to watch. So it's awesome. All right. Then we're going to do February top 10 TWV for people who are paid at title. 1 is Whitney. 2 is Paige Rooswald. 3 is Sylvia Slutsky. 4, Tara Dickerson. 5, Shannon Zuniga. 6, Megan Moore. 7, Alex Wellman. 8, Katrina Anderson. 9, Sarah Evans. And 10, Narina Chugani. So way to go, you guys. That's amazing. Amazing.
Okay, so most active frontline in February. I had 36. Anya had 24. Paige and Tara both had 10, and Paulina had 9. So congratulations to all of them. Amazing, amazing. Our February group sales for the whole month were $249,242. $249,242 for February. Our current group sales for this month so far, with a few days left, is $342,153. So we will probably, if I had to guess, we will probably pass our February sales by $100,000, which is insane. So like I said, I don't know. We have added 127 new teammates to our group as a whole. So me and Anya's group all together, 127 new teammates. That is a lot of new people. That's a lot of new potential. That's a lot of new future leaders. We could have some directors in there. We could have some superstar directors in there. 127 people is insane. And we still have a few days left. So one of the things that on the superstar director page, that a lot of the goal for a group is to have 10% growth in a month like this. So we're around, I think, let me math real quick. Last time I checked, yeah, we're around 15% growth for the month already, which is amazing. 10% is the goal for the month. We're already at about 15% growth for our group. So again, I really want y'all to take that in. And I know that, all of you are probably affected by those numbers. The teams that you're on are affected by those numbers. This isn't just, a individual thing. This was made by many, many, many people, and you're a part of that. So I hope that you're proud of that. I hope you're proud to be a part of this group. And even if the numbers weren't that, even if they were half of that, I would still be super proud that people are still working. They're still moving forward. Growth is growth. Forward is forward. But when we have this type of month, we can't go without saying, okay, because it's just huge. So some announcements, just a couple. Tonight, SFR sign up is open now. Go to your events tab. A lot of you already know if you're attending or not. If you're still on the fence, let me know, let Anya know, let your director know. If you're still trying to figure it out, maybe we can help answer some questions. Simply Grace and Grit, which is my team, next month. We've actually already moved the date, but I'm opening that up to the group. So everyone will be invited to come to my team meeting, and we will be talking specifically about SFR. Me and Katrina Anderson are going to be talking about that. We're going to be answering questions. I already have a list of questions that people have asked me that we'll go over. And we'll just be really talking about what to expect. And even if you aren't attending in person, I still suggest that you come and see just what the potential is that this company offers us every year, and what not necessarily what you're missing out on, but what you're missing out on, like, so that way you can go ahead and start planning next year to make it. Okay. So yeah. Then the next leaders meeting in April will be with all SSDs. So that's going to be with me, Anya, Chloe, Ray, Katie, Amber. Did I miss anybody? So we will all be together, and that is, as of right now, April 6th. Okay. So April 6th, as of right now, is that date. You can pencil that in. Just know that things can change. Okay. So yeah, that'll be our next leaders meeting. So that means that we won't have our meeting like this next month, because we'll be with all the other SSDs, and we don't want to have multiple leaders meetings a month. So tonight, me and Anya were talking about what are we going to talk about? Okay. What are we going to talk about with these people? And obviously with the numbers that I've shared already tonight, you probably know what our focus is going to be on, right? Because we don't have a ton of new people on here tonight. We do have some, but we have a ton of new leaders that are here, that are probably still going to come throughout the month. And I think there needs to be just some discussion on what we're doing as leaders, right? What are we doing as leaders to not just lead our team, but to lead our leaders, to lead the way for everyone else, and really taking that next step in your leadership. And what are we going to do about it, right? What are we going to do about it? It's all going to be up to you. We can't make you do things. Side note, anything that we ever share with y'all, suggest, or tell you that has worked, that's out of experience from us. That's not us telling that you have to do it a certain way, or that you have to do it this way or our way. So please keep that in mind, because we always are, me and Anya both, we share a lot. And that's not a bad thing. And when people turn that into a bad thing, then it's just not right. I'll just say that. Okay. We share a lot of what we do in our business. We share what's successful for us to help you. And you can take it with what you will. If you want to try it, try it. If you don't. All right. So I'm going to pass it over to Anya. Mute myself.
All right, so we're going to start with the first topic that we had, and we're talking about onboarding, okay? So first thing is, you need a system. You need a system. How are you onboarding, okay? What are you doing with new people? If you've sponsored more than one person this month, this is a great month to try to figure out what works for multiple people, okay? When you're like adding in a lot of people, because if you're adding in one person and you're sending them this great gift and all these things, and it's so fun, it's this big package, and then you have a join special month, or you end up having 7 people join, are you doing the same thing for all of those people? That's a lot of extra work on top of you trying to get your sales, on top of you making sure they know what they're doing. It's a lot of people to talk to, okay? So you want to have a system, one that's simple, okay? Very simple. It's very important, because otherwise you're going to be super overwhelmed, all right? So simple and replicatable, okay? This is a benefit for you, all right? It's so you can make sure that your new people actually get what they need, but it's also a benefit for your team. Again, you're a leader, right? So this is beneficial for your team. If you're doing something that's super detailed and intricate, and you're going here and you're buying all this stuff, and then you have a certified consultant who just sponsored 2 people, and they're looking at you like, I have to do all of that's a lot. Okay, it's already overwhelming to answer all the questions and do all the things and run your own business too. All right, don't make it overwhelming for your people who are trying to come up as leaders. Okay, that's so important. So if you're looking at it and you're like, everything is so perfect and it's wonderful and it weighs 15 pounds when I send them their first mail and then I send them 15,000 text messages, you're doing too much, too much. And I promise you that new person is probably like, I think I'm good. Like, okay, no, thank you. This is too much. All right. This is supposed to make their lives better and easier and more fun, right? Not supposed to completely stress them out right when they sign up. All right. The next thing is you've got to set your people up for success. You have people's dreams in your hands, you guys, and whether they know it or not, they might not wake up until 3 years from now, but you still have it in your hands. Okay. So you got to remember, you have to give them the tools to succeed. But the key to this, what I've really come to learn about myself, and I'm like, want to shout it to the rooftop so you guys aren't freaking out later, but you also have to realize that you cannot give them everything. Okay. So there's like this fine line, this balance that I crossed for so long, and it was mentally draining. All right. You cannot give them everything. They've got to actually do the work. Okay. I've got 4 brand new people this month, and 2 of them are actually doing the work. Am I going to keep bombarding the other 2? No, I'm not. I'm going to focus on the 2 that are actually doing the work and want something from this. Okay. So that's not on you. All right. So give them the tools to succeed. Okay. But don't stress yourself out, because that's what you will do if you want it for them more than they want it for themselves. So that's key. I feel like if you're wanting it more for your person that you sponsored than they're wanting it for themselves, that's a problem. That's a red flag. Okay. Stop doing that. All right. And then the next thing is you've got to continue this onboarding process as your people level up. Okay. So where your brand new person becomes a lead, you're now onboarding them as a leader. All right. When you get that star and superstar consultant, now you're going to start onboarding them as a director. All right. You have to change your focus and you have to shift it to match the season that people are in, if that makes sense. Because you're not going to talk to them the same way as a lead consultant as someone who is about to hit director. It's not the same mindset. It's not the same anything. It's not the same, right? It's different. So I think that's extremely important as they're leveling up. All right. You've got to make sure that you're helping them get what they need, what's going to help them succeed and help their team succeed, and to see this business differently as they're leveling up. That's what I have for onboarding.
Yep. So I have needs to be the same across the board. So one of the things that before I had a system with consultants or new consultants, I was always like, did I do that? Did I, how is she more successful than she was? Or what did I give her that I didn't give her? And having that system keeps me accountable to be able to say, no, I gave everyone the same exact chance that I did across the board. Right. And that's another checklist of your system. Okay. So giving everyone the same chance, regardless of your thoughts on how they will do, you will be shocked. Okay. I have 5 new teammates this month, and more than half of them have completely shocked me. Okay. And I've told them that, wow, like and one of them already shocked themselves, to be completely honest. She's like, yeah, I just get paid off my purchases. She's already certified within 2 weeks. Like it's just one of those things where, but me to be able to say I gave her the same exact tools that I gave everyone else that I've onboarded in the last year from using my onboarding system. Okay. So that's where that comes in. One that you can stick to. That's the biggest thing with the system. So put it in the chat. Who has a system that they use that if one of their downlines said, hey, I need a system on sales and how to have those consistently. How do I do that? Does someone have a system where they could be like, yes, here's how I do it? Maybe not a piece of paper, but some type of system that you could say, this is how I do it. Try this out for 30 days and see if it helps you be successful consistently. So put in the chat if you have that. If you don't, put that in the chat. I want to hear from everyone. We got 29 people in here, so I want to hear from everyone. There is no wrong answer. And I've talked to y'all about this before that if you don't, that's okay. But staying there is not. Okay. So that's the difference with leadership is you don't need to come in knowing everything. That's not how it works. But if you're not taking the tools that we're giving you to then evolve yourself as a leader, then that's a problem. Only in my head, need to get it on paper. I always do a launch party with every new teammate. Where'd it go? I do. Yes, my system for tracking. Awesome. Parties equal PRV. I sort of have system for sales, 8 to 10 parties a month. Okay. So PRV is also following up. How do we keep up? What's our follow-up system, right? A party system, right? At what point do we do front loading? Like all of that is a system that comes in your daily task or whatever it works for you. I can only tell you what system I have found to work for me. When you have a new one, then please share that. Or even if a daily task will work for you, take mine and make it your own. Mine came from a revised version of Katie Lasser's, and hers came from a revised version from someone else. Okay. You don't need to start from scratch. That's not how this has to go. It doesn't have to be on paper. That's fine. I need a better system. Yes, that's good that you're being honest with yourself. Offering opportunity to all hosts. I use a spreadsheet. Yep. Okay, awesome. So when we're always talking about onboarding new teammates, but we don't really talk about onboarding new leaders. And that's going to be our focus tonight, really, or one of our focuses tonight, because you're a leader. Everyone I see on my first page has been here for a while. Okay. Y'all have been here for a few months. You know the ropes of our group. You know the ropes of what you're supposed to do as a leader. If you didn't or you weren't interested, you wouldn't be here right now. Let's just be completely honest. Okay. So the people that are here are the ones that want more. That's what our group is for, legacy leaders. Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you have to be in the group. We want people who are wanting to move forward in their business. Okay. So having an onboarding system for new leaders, that's something that is tagged at the top of the page, but how many people have tagged their new leaders in that? A lot of people just add them to the leaders page and they're like, welcome to leadership. They don't give them any kind of documents or lead them in any way like they do a new teammate, right? Like you have some type of system for a new teammate. We need to have a system for our leaders. Leaders build leaders. That's how you're going to build your business. Okay. So I personally have a new consultant launch. Mine is revised from Chloe, and it has documents in there for a leader, because when you're changing to leadership, you're really just opening a new door to your business. You know what I mean? Like you're opening many doors, but the main door to leadership is going to be a change in focus. It's not just about you anymore. You have a team, not that you are responsible for their success. And I've talked about this in our Tip Tuesday last week. But you are responsible to give them the tools, just like you are when you have a new teammate. Okay. So that's what I really want y'all to focus on, having or building or revising that this month going into next. Okay. Because of our growth, because of what has happened this month, systems are proven to work. The people that have systems are the ones who are able to have multiple joins and not feel like they're going insane, right? Because they have that outline and they have the check marks or the well-oiled part of their machine that is just moving and it's just working, right? So as a new leader on my team, they get an email from me as their director, but I, as their SSD, don't send them that email because that's not how that report is set up in my workstation, to be honest. But all of those people are in legacy leaders, and the same thing that's in that email are pinned to the top of the page. So everyone has access to that. All of that information is in our Google Drive, and everyone can use it. Okay, so let's start using that to onboard these new people. Being a leader and onboarding leaders is also being a sounding board for how to do things, right? When you became a leader, your trainings as a leader are different than they are as a consultant, right? So that's going to be your focus for your leaders too. It's not your director's job or your star directors or your SSD's job to train your leaders that you're trying to build for your team to hopefully then one day have you be a director. Okay. Take what questions they're asking and build a system off of that. Huge. Okay. When people ask me questions, I write them down in my notes. And if more than one person's asking that question, it needs to be implemented somewhere, right? If someone's saying, I don't know how to run a port, we need to figure out a way that is easy for me to show them how to do that, you know? And again, a lot of y'all have those things for our new consultants, how to set up a party on your workstation, how to close a party. What does this mean? What our shipping looks like. And we have that mass communication of YouTube or documents to be able to say, here you go, here's how you do it. That's what we're going to do as leaders. We're going to say, okay, you need this. Okay, I need to take a step back in my leadership. And if you need to ask your director or your star director, hey, what do you do for this? That's what this group is for. Okay. So what do they ask? What is everyone needing? Take what you're doing repeatedly and think, how can I make this easier for all of us? That is what we're doing in leadership. We're doing the same thing every month. We're just trying to make it easier and better. But it's going to take you to do that. Okay. I can show you what I do. I can't make you use it, but I can give you and the tools that I use and for you to make them your own. Okay. If you're choosing not to onboard or you're choosing not to have a system for things in your business, this point, I will say you need to rethink that, okay? Because what you're doing for one or maybe even 10 right now, without a system or without some type of informational hub for them to use, you're doing them a disservice, okay? And they're going to start relying on your upline to do your job, and that's not okay. That's not what we're teaching in our group, okay? So it is what it is. Oh, the other thing is systems for what? Because a lot of people are like, well, what do I need a system for? The three that you need to start with are what? 3 legs, PRV, sponsoring, coaching. Start there. I also have a few other systems that aren't specifically for those. I have a frontline system where I have everyone who's on my frontline, where they're from. I have notes on our coaching calls. That's part of my coaching system as well. Those kind of join in together, but I have a system for each leg for me to help someone be successful in that area. Okay. Yes, Courtney, 3 legs of success. And that's what I have for onboarding. Anya, back to you.
All right. So our next, I was going to say paragraph. Y'all, it's been a long day, okay, at teaching kids. Lord, our next category, there we go, evolving leadership with growth, okay? So I want you guys to think long lens, okay? We have really got to stop thinking, well, this works for me right now. That's great. Congrats. But like, what happens later down the road? What happens when you have a group of 100? Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that can be you, okay? Are you sitting here and you're like, well, I'm a lead and I think that's all I'm going to do for now? Like, what? For forever? You're just going to be a lead for the rest of your life? Like, what are you doing? No, you're here for a reason. You showed up for a reason, okay? So long lens, director plus, all right? That's where you're going. You're not just going to stop yourself and cap yourself out because that would be silly. We're not doing that. All right. So you have to be willing to be open, okay, to make changes and to shift. All right. Again, you as a lead consultant, you're not going to look at things or your business or your leadership or anything the same as you would when you are a director, when you are a star consultant and a superstar consultant. Okay. You're going to start looking at things a little bit differently. When you're a director, you're like, oh, that's why my SSD does that. That's why my star director does that. Oh, okay, that makes sense because you're looking at things differently, right? That's literally talking to my son on the way home today. He's like, I'm just, this is how I feel about this. And it's because of X, Y, Z. Well, that's great for a 12-year-old, but if I thought like that, we'd be screwed. Like, it's the same thing. We're on different levels, okay? And that's the way that it goes, but you have to be willing to grow and shift your mindset. So like I told my son, if you're sitting here and you're like, well, this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm not ever going to change, you're going to be stuck in that 12-year-old mindset for the rest of your life. How are you going to be a successful adult? Okay. Are you going to be stuck in that lead mindset for the rest of your life? How are you going to be a successful SSD, successful director, successful star director? All right. So you have to be willing to like, look at things, because what is working now is probably not going to be sustainable when you have X amount of people. Okay. I even think about that now for me. There are certain things that are sustainable for me right now that Whitney's like, no, girl, that ain't going to happen. Because our numbers are different. Okay. I realized that today when I sat down, and I normally at the end of the month, I do, these people are almost certified. I went to go do that and I was like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. There are so many people, a lot of it's the same people, and I can't tag them. This is taking way too long. I'm not doing it anymore. So you have to be willing to change certain things. Okay. So when you're evolving in your leadership with growth, you have to think about it in the 3 legs of success areas, still the same as you're a leader, right? So your coaching calls, how do those look? How do those change up later down the road, right? Your shout outs, like I said today, there are certain ones I'm not, our group's getting too big. It's a great problem to have, but I'm not doing them in a certain way anymore, okay? Even on legacy leaders, how Whitney was like, this is our shout out post, because there's so many people. Eventually it's just going to be a big cheering session, which is great, but there's important information that's going to be missed, leadership content that's going to be missed if we keep going that route. All right. Your team page, when it comes time, recognition, how are you doing that? Onboarding your team. All right. Messaging teammates, who you're working with, all of those things, you have to be willing to shift how you're doing them as you go along in your business. Okay. It's a good thing. Change is good. I promise. Another thing, evolving your leadership with growth, like Whitney said, onboarding our leaders is extremely important, okay? As they're going through and they're leveling up, it's very important. But reports, you guys, you've got to be pulling reports, okay? We had a training with home office. There's literally no excuse, all right? I think Katrina's the one who says you're not going to break it. Click things, all right? Figure it out, look around, like it's not going to break. You're not going to mess anything up, okay? But you have to be running your reports and dissecting the numbers. It is, I say this, I'm trying to be nice about this. It's mind-blowing to me how many leaders, if I check in with them and I'm like, hey girl, did you know so-and-so is way over halfway to promoting? What? They are? What do you mean they are? That's your teammate. Why do I know that? And you don't, right? Like that, come on now. So we have to make sure that we're doing that as we're going along. Again, it is not your sponsor's job to train up your leaders. That's your job. Okay. That's your job. You took that on when you opened that leadership door. So you've got to be dissecting those numbers and really looking at it as a business. So what is your system for that? Do you do that, the 15th of the month? That's what I do. That's when I start looking at who could promote. Okay. And I'm reaching out and talking to them and cheering them on. You have to start looking at things like that. Okay. You need to pay attention to what is happening. And then you need to be able to understand it enough. Okay. And there's lots of training, so you can do it, I promise, but understand it enough to break it down to your teammates. Okay. Because when you dissect those numbers and you can break it down, hey girl, I'm talking to you because you had this amount of PRV, this amount of GWV or TWV, and you need X amount to get to the next level. I know this because I ran this report and looked at the compensation plan. I can see what you need. Are you wanting to level up? When you're doing that for them, they now can take that and do it for their team. Okay, so you're training them as you're talking to them, all right? And it will click later on. They'll be like, oh yeah, okay. When they become a leader and they want to grow up more leaders, all right? So it's super, super important in all of those things. It's not just oh yeah, this is so great. I'm a leader. I'm gonna check reports like once a month. No, you've got to be paying attention to your people, and think about it like this too. You would be really sad if someone completely missed the fact that you promoted. If you weren't shouted out, if you hit shooting star and no one even noticed, that's awful. That's awful, right? Like, come on, that's not cool. So pay attention to your people. It's just another way for you to show them love and another way for you to connect with them, okay? Because your teammates, they're your people, all right? You got to take care of them. So go ahead, Whitney.
All right, so evolving, the definition of evolving means developing gradually. Okay, so I wrote down, this won't happen overnight. Okay, when I'm talking about your business, your systems, your leadership, but your team can change overnight. Okay. When I say that, I mean, it can change from you having a team of 2 to a team of 20 in a month. Okay. That's a huge change. It's happened in this group. It's happened in our team. It's a real thing. But with that, that doesn't mean that you forget about all the in-between steps of that 2 to 20, right? And that's where we start talking about having the strong foundation of a team of leadership, okay? So I want y'all to tell me what that looks like to you. What does a strong foundation of your business, of your team look like for you? I want y'all to put that in the chat. No wrong answer. Again, this is your personal opinion. When you look at someone's business and they have a strong foundation, what things do they have in that business? Systems, properly trained frontline, systems, communication, okay, trust, schedule, okay, active frontline, huge, leading by example, relationships, consistency, great leadership skills, being willing to work like a director without being a director, okay, working for the title you want, love that, open line of communication, consistency. Well, you got anything to add to that?
Nope.
Yeah, so the active frontline, the consistent high PRV, or the consistent PRV period, those are more of the technical things, systems, training, people showing up for people showing up for the people showing up, not just one person showing up. Yes. Okay. So as far as your business and having that strong foundation, that's going to come in time. Okay. And that's what part of evolving is, that gradual growth in time. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be a brand new lead and be working like a director. Okay. You may have a few of those rock stars that do it very quickly, but even if your numbers are growing quickly, that doesn't mean, a lot of times people have to take a step back from those huge numbers to be like, what am I missing? Because they fall so quickly, because they built so quickly. Okay. Having your teams back. Can I get an amen? Not treating them like a means to be paid a title. Yes. Helping them grow their own dreams. Jennifer, do you want to train? Jennifer, do you want to train? All of that is amazing. Yes. All of that. So think about that. Whatever you just put in that chat, write it down. Do you have that in your business? Do you have that in your leadership? If not, that's okay, but we're not staying there. We're going to build that. Okay. We're going to do those things. If you don't know what a strong foundation looks like, take notes on what everyone just put in the chat. Okay. Because all of those things are it. Evolving is saying, how can you grow as a leader? What work can you put in now to make it easier for you in the long run? Okay. That's my goal in my business. I want to be able to work less and have more. And this business can give me that. Okay. Right now, I will say it. I don't care who likes it, who doesn't. I work part-time for more than a full-time income right now. That's a dream. That was a dream years ago. Okay. I work 20 hours a week and I make more than a full-time income because I have set myself up to that. And that's the same thing with leadership. You want it to be easy for you. It's not always ever going to be easy. Golly, this past week has probably been one of my hardest in leadership, to be completely honest with y'all, because of people who want to bring you down. Okay. When you put your heart and your soul and everything you have into building something, it can hurt you when someone doesn't agree. Okay. And it's hard. Leadership is hard. Not everyone's going to like you. I've said it before, not everyone's going to like how you do things. But when you are in a position that you can be confident enough that you can say, I've done my best, that's all you can do. Okay. But what work can you put in now to make it easier in the long run? Do what you can do for 100, for 1,000, for 2,000. If you're not open to change in your business, you'll be stuck right where you are right now. So if you're a director and you've been paid a title for a year, awesome. If that's where you want to stay, you're staying. If you've been paid a title for a star for 2 years, that's great. But where's the growth? Where are we evolving there? We're not. We're being comfortable. Okay. You have to make the changes, push yourself, want more for others. Okay. Again, leadership is not about you, and you can't want it for them. You can say, hey, I'm here to help you get you where you want to get, but they have to do the work. Okay. They have to do the work to get themselves there, but you have to always be that constant, whether you want to or not. You have to be the girl putting your big girl panties on when your feelings are hurt and still showing up for everybody else. That's leadership. Okay. The other part of evolving as a leader is Anya's +1. I can't believe she didn't talk about this. I wrote this down. Anya's +1. When you're comfortable, you're not growing. But once you've figured out something, do a +1. Add something else on. If your plate is over full and you don't know what way to turn, do not do a +1. Okay. If you need to, do a -1. And let's get back on our feet. But evolving is growing, is moving, is uncomfortable. And that's where that +1 comes in. Once you have something mastered, once you have that system, you know it like the back of your hand, add something else. Okay. Sylvia told me that golden nugget last week. Being paid title is awesome, but there's so much more to growing a team than that. Amen. Paid at title is just a title. Okay. It's awesome. It's a big deal, but it's not everything. Okay. All right, Anya, systems. We're going to close it out with some more systems talk.
Yes. And just a side note to add on to Whitney's thing right there, being paid at title, you need to get it in your head. Like it's something you should always be striving for. Okay. My thing in my own head is better, faster, stronger. Like I want to be getting paid at title, not just by the 30th, but like, okay, well, let's see if we can do it by the 20th. Let's see if we can do it by the 15th. Right. But we also have to remember, like Sylvia says, there's more to running that. Okay. There's more to your business than that. So if you're not paid at title, it's not the end of the world, but should you be working towards that? Yeah. Because sometimes there's things that you can't help, right? Like when I had a director just peace out. I couldn't help that. There's nothing, what am I supposed to do? But if I have to have a director to be paid at title, but everything else is on par, then that's what I need to focus on. And then raising up more directors. That's it. Okay. So just keep that in the back of your head. You are not less than if you're not paid at title, but you should be working towards it. If you're not being paid at title and you're like, meh, that's a problem. Okay. But if you're working towards it and you're still building, it's okay. So just so everybody has that in their mind clearly. Okay. So systems. Okay. The first thing is get them. There you go. You're welcome. No, I literally had no systems, you guys, until I hit director. I'm dead serious. And it was not okay. It was a whole mess. It was awful. So when we're telling you this, develop them now. You can tweak things here and there as you go, but just, you need them. You need systems. Okay. Do a little at a time. Like Whitney said, you're mastering something, focus on a new thing. If you're like, man, getting paid title is so easy. Look at my PRV is rocking, but you haven't sponsored in 4 months. Probably need to work on the sponsoring system, right? So then that's what you're going to really focus on building and perfecting. Okay. I think it's really important to start where you're struggling the most. That would be my advice to you. Start where you're struggling the most. So are you struggling with coaching up your teamies? Do you have no leaders? Okay, that's probably where you should be focusing on, leaders building leaders. Okay, if your PRV is only 500, or you literally are like, they keep saying 2K at least, but I cannot get there, but everything else seems to be going well, you need to be focusing on having a great system for PRV. Okay, focus where you're struggling, not everything at once, because then you won't keep doing it. All right, focus where you're struggling, perfect it, then you can move on. All right. Again, a system is just something that you're doing in your business and doing consistently. So don't let the word scare you and think that you have to have this whole wonderful, what training was that? Someone came on a training, it wasn't with this group, but they came on and they were doing Excel spreadsheets. And I was like, hell no, nope, never gonna happen. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. It was so overwhelming to me. Okay. But that works for them. All right. That's how they do it. Okay. Yes. Michelle Hall. I was like, girl, you crazy. Like, what kind of nutcase does stuff like that? I don't know, but it's amazing. And it works for her and her business. That would never work for me. I'm going to be very honest. You say never, that's a never. Like, nope, I'm not an Excel girl. I don't know how to use it. Yep, I will just put it in my phone as a note. So there is that. What you're going to do, what you're going to replicate, okay? What is easy for you that you can just get it done? If I was trying to be Michelle, it would probably take me years. And I'm like, ran my report years later. That's not simple. It's not quick. It's not helping me get my job done effectively and efficiently. Okay. Your system should help you get things done fast, efficiently. Okay. And get them done well. All right. So you need to have them. You need to keep track of what you're doing and how you're working, because if you don't, you guys, you're not going to be able to figure out what needs to change to make it work well for you. Okay. If you're sitting here and you're like, oh yeah, I never track my numbers. I never know where my PRV is coming from. It's stressful. How are you going to teach your team to be successful if you're just pulling stuff out of your back? Like, come on, you got to know what you're doing. Okay. And then when something fails, you're like, well, I don't know how that happened. But if you're tracking something and you're like, this is how I do it, this is what we're going to do, then you're able to see where the problem is. Me and my mail outs. The mail outs, Lord. I have come to realize, okay, I cannot do all of the things when it comes to mail outs. I was doing for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then I had certain things that were going in each mail out for each section. Y'all, no, those people weren't getting their mail outs to the next month because it was too much. It's not fitting into my life, right? So if I can send just the people who ordered in 1 month what I want to send them, and then a postcard to everybody else, that works. It's simple. It's fast. It's easy. I can teach my team to do the same thing. All right. Finally, these people are getting their mail outs by maybe the 15th or the 20th, not the next month. We're speeding things along. Okay. But you have to see where you're literally messing things up and know what you're doing wrong. You can't know that if you don't have a system. All right. I looked back at that training the other day and I laughed at myself. Why did you train on that? That was awful. Like, I just stressed all these people out on my team, giving them all these things to do because it wasn't simple. Okay. So now I have to redo it, which is okay. It's a learning moment, but you have to know what you're doing in order to fix it when it isn't working. All right. So do what you have to do. Just record all the things in whatever way you need to record it. Okay. Then change it when it doesn't work. If it's stressing you out, change it. This should be fun. It should be a blessing. Okay. Certain things have to get done. Yes. All right. Certain things. Like if you really hate coaching calls, I don't know what to tell you because you got to coach people. So figure it out. But maybe there's a different way you can coach them. I don't know. But there are certain things that have to be done. But for the most part, you can change. It's your business, y'all. Change it to fit your leadership, to fit your style and what you need to do to make it so you can replicate it consistently for your team. And then they can be taught the same thing. All right. Okay.
So I have a couple more things, but if you have any questions from what we've talked about, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And I just wanted to say here, Anya was talking about she was trying to do too much thank yous at the end of the month. Katrina said, monthly overwhelms me. I do them weekly. Jen says, yes, mail outs are not working for me. I got to make a change. Monthly mail outs. That's the thing, guys. I don't care when you do your mail outs. I don't care when you do your thank yous. I don't care what your thank yous look like. I don't care if they're handwritten, but I'm going to teach you as your upline that you need to send a thank you, whether that looks like a text or an email or a handwritten card, whatever that looks like to you that you like, do it. I'm not saying it has to be a certain way. The way that I do it's not the way that Katrina does it, not the way that Anya does it. We don't do our mail outs the same. Okay. And the other thing is, when you are doing thank yous, say you're doing thank yous right now and you're not a director, you think mail outs are stressful now and you want to do mail outs for your team? Okay. You might change your mind on that. You may say, I'm going to do email shout outs instead because that's not for me. And that's fine. As long as you are doing the, like Ani said, there's minimums that have to be done in our business. They're not always going to be fun, but they have to be done. Okay. Recognizing people is part of leadership. You got to do it. Whatever it looks like, you got to do it. Okay. But again, it's not going to look the same for everybody. And they're not always going to find joy in it. And that's the other thing. You're not always going to love every single part of this business. It's just how it is. Okay. Have fun, but like sometimes you gotta do what's hard. Okay. You can look at and see if there's any questions. So all I have written down for the ending for systems is stop making them scary. Okay. This ties into what I just said. They don't have to look a certain way, but they do have to be replicatable. They have to be repeatable by your team. You have to be able to teach it to someone. That's it. Whatever that looks like. You may even have a piece of paper written down, and that may be your system. And you can, but as long as you can say, hey, this is what my system looks like, make your own, then you're giving them the tools to do it. Okay. Take what you're provided and evolve. Take what you're provided and evolve. Okay. There are many directors in our group that I know. I'm on their team page. So I see that they are sharing valuable content for their teams and their leaders to use. I see that there are leaders sharing on our leaders page how they're working, what they're doing. Okay. Take what you are provided and evolve. You don't have to start from scratch. It doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Okay. No one is going to come and do it for you. So if you're waiting for that to happen, you probably just need to go ahead and take a non-leadership role. And I mean that with all the love in my heart. But if you're not willing to work, you just need to rethink. Okay. The other part of not necessarily systems, but evolving with leadership and growth that we didn't touch on that I wanted to talk about real quick is, y'all are provided with so much. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm not tooting our horn of our group. Cincy, period, Workstation, groups, YouTube, Pinterest, Google. There's tons of stuff out there that you can use. Okay. But the one thing that we didn't touch on was how you're working. Okay. So with leadership, when you're sharing how you're working and you're changing how you're sharing with your team, that too also has to be replicatable by them. If you're sharing things that people cannot take in their own business and try, then you're not sharing anything that's, I don't want to say that's not helpful, but something that can help their business. Okay. So we really have to think about what the content is that we're sharing. If you come on and you're sharing what email you sent, or what were the topics that you talked to your team about in your team meeting, or what your mail outs look like, what your flash sale thank yous look like, little things like that of how, like every single day, you should be able to share how you're working, what you're doing in your business that someone else on your team could use. Okay. That's really the basic of it. A lot of people, I don't have anything to share. If you have anything to share, then you're probably not working your business. Okay. And as a leader, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If you yourself or a teammate has really high PRV and you can't tell me how you're getting that high PRV, where's my red flag? Not okay. Okay. If you have high PRV and you can't tell me how you're getting that, that is not okay. You need to be able to share with your leader how you're getting PRV. Okay. Parties, something. And it's not your bank account. I said what I said. All righty. I love y'all. I'm going to go ahead and stop